Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to season 4, episode 11 of the P.W.P Sessions podcast. I am your host, Noelle Figueroa. Joining me this evening is Natasha Beautiful Thought, and I'm so excited to dive into this conversation. Now, for those of you not already familiar with this podcast, the P.W.P Sessions or the Pause for Purpose Sessions podcast is a podcast I created where I interview new or established authors of poetry, rappers, or MCs that feature a performance of their work along with an audience Q&A session. I am your host, Noelle Figueroa. I am a poet, author, blogger, workshop facilitator, and event host. And I'm the creator of the PWP Sessions podcast. Tonight's guest is Natasha Beautiful Thought, and this is her bio. Natasha Beautiful Thought is a spoken soul poet, speaker, event host, and producer, actress, homeschool coach, enrichment teacher, tutor, mentor, and special education advocate. Natasha Beautiful Thought is the recipient of the National Poetry Awards 2011 Christian Poet and Spoken Word Artist of the Year and 2016 Host of the Year. In 2016, she released her first CD, Spoken Soul 1, Perfect Imperfections, to the backdrop of original neo-soul jazz music. She has been featured on numerous internet, TV, and radio shows and performed at various public and private venues, including historic Baker's Keyboard and Aretha's Jazz Cafe. She has performed with and been booked by several international jazz recording artists. She has also opened for hip-hop artists The Truth and Andy Mineo, and in 2019 opened for Stellar Award-winning gospel artist KCJ. Natasha has a master's in human services, bachelor's in social work psychology. She is passionate about educating others around health and wellness. She is a resilient woman of God, known to persevere through life's challenges, who believes God has provided us with a richness of ways to heal ourselves mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, including with spoken word. Natasha is mother to Tavan Torre, a professional talent blessed with an anointed singing voice and a gift of acting. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here is Natasha Beautiful Thought. Good evening, Natasha. How are you today?
Hello, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining me tonight. So, who is Natasha Beautiful Thought? How would you describe yourself or define yourself?
Well, interesting enough, as I flip my earrings, I feel like I am really me. And I say that because I am uniquely me. And I think that that is part of who I am. Um, just being okay with whatever that is and whatever that looks like, even literally. And so, not only am I everything that you said, but in those areas that I work within, within our world, within our communities, I infuse that creativity and that uniqueness in everything I do. So even though, some of the arts that you mentioned are creative, that also bring another uniqueness where I'm not trying to copy someone else. So I feel like in brief, like in short, like I am uniquely me.
Awesome, awesome. Now, being a woman of faith, in regards to your poetry, would you say your journey with poetry began before your faith journey, or did it start after you began your faith journey?
I think Well, I was raised in church, but as far as owning my own faith to the point where I wanted to get baptized was literally around the same age that I discovered that I could write poetry. I know I was 12 in the seventh grade when I discovered that I could write poetry, and then I got baptized. I think I was 13 when I got baptized. So it's kind of that coming into oneself, you know, a period of time as you're becoming a teenager, just, fresh and teen. So, yeah, happened around the same time. But of course, that journey is a long one with different levels,
Right.
both of them.
What was the point where you discovered the connection between your gift with writing poetry and finding that to connect with your purpose in God?
Mm. I do remember that um, because I am a spoken soul poet, I believe that who I am came out on paper always. But as far as understanding the the assignment or understanding that the words that I spoke through my poetry had such power in the spiritual realm, even though I didn't fully understand it to the extent I understand it now, but just as far as helping shape someone else's path in a way, I literally had a light bulb moment. I remember the apartment that I was in. I remember, I think I was standing in the bathroom, just, going in and out and getting ready. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, this is serious. And it was very, very shortly after I started my spoken word journey after I discovered spoken word, that was a different, a new path, or a new wing in the path outside of just writing what I knew as poetry. The spoken word, I shortly discovered after that that there was some connection that I needed to make sure that what I said lined up with who I wanted to be. And, my test, my not take my testimony, so to speak. Although I wasn't writing anything crazy or anything, but I'm just saying I realized that. And it was a light bulb moment, literally.
Excellent, excellent.
Mhm.
And when you started writing, what were the first subjects that you started writing about?
Absolutely Love was the very first poem that I wrote was about love. It was a very short but poignant poem at 12 years old, knowing not very much about it was romantic love.
Mhm.
But the what was even more deep about it, ever other than the metaphors and all that I use, was that I understood that love doesn't have to die. And I to even just say that and think back at that, like at 12 years old, I didn't know anything about that. But, I guess that was the first inkling, now that I can see now, of the Holy Spirit using me to speak on a level that I didn't even fully understand. So, yeah.
Excellent, excellent. As you develop your writing skills and dive into various subject matter, who or what would you say you would give credit to in terms of helping you to mature or develop your writing style?
Well, I would first say that I didn't have much frame of reference um, to copy or so much like follow other people's journey in writing. Um, especially with the writing. My writing was absolutely just open. But the spoken word part, because I was new to it, um, I did have a couple of people that helped shaped that. And the first one was the person that introduced me to spoken word, who was a slam captain and spoken word artist, of course, himself. And it was his event that I went to and his writing workshop that I went to, that introduced me to a more mature thought process about how I was writing and and eventually would speak. And that was Omari Barksdale. They called him King Wise. And then later, another one of the very mature, seasoned poets in the Detroit community, his name was Sparrow, Stephen Sparrow, and he helped more so develop my spoken word, particularly with a band. And so he would put me in situations that I was not necessarily ready for or comfortable with, but I had to figure it out. And he also was the one who told me to begin to memorize my pieces in spoken words so that I could free myself up to be able to express them more, um, freely with having them memorized. And so I would count Sparrow as the most influential.
Excellent, excellent. Would you say you gravitate to certain subject matter more than others, or would you say that you're the type of person that writes according to whatever inspires you?
I would say I write according to whatever inspires me, but I will say the majority of I used to call myself a love poet. That was before I began spoken word. But I still feel like I gravitate a lot toward talking about relationships, different types of relationships, from familial to romantic to friendship. I do have quite a bit about relationships and the good and bad. So, and especially the good love as well. But I feel like a lot of it has reflected where I was at within relationships. So that's, yeah, I mean, and then of course, again, like I said before, who I am as a woman of God, I can't peel off layers of me. It's all infused together. And so, I do write um about God within the things that I write. Um, so those would be probably my top two.
Excellent, excellent. Now, in your bio that you mentioned that you put out a CD. Can you share with our audience what that process was like for you putting together that CD and what inspired you to do that CD?
I guess since I always got to be unique, it's probably something different than anybody else went through. Um, because I didn't start off trying to write a CD. Um, I began to record myself on my phone, in the voice notes or voice memos, voice recording app. And I sent some pieces to my sister-in-law's brother who did beats.
Right.
And he put some, tracks behind a couple of pieces. And that's what jump started my CD. And then I began to see other things that fit with that CD. And it's called Perfect Imperfections. And the way that it was developed really, that's also kind of why I ended up naming it that way, because there were things in the recording. If you're going into the studio, you want everything perfect, crystal clear. And so the way I developed it, there was no way it could be perfect. And so even when I sent my voice recordings to the producer, he wasn't able to take out all of the nuances. And so there were some things that happened organically that we kept in there, and I worked them into my piece. Not into the piece directly, but in the background noise of the piece. Specifically, for example, I have one about us spending so much time on technology and how's that affecting the children that we're not spending time with. And you can hear like a voice message, like a pop-up, like, you get your little notifications and stuff. So there's little nuances in there that
Right.
work in the track. And so it's called Perfect Imperfections. And even one of them was just like a prayer that I happened to catch myself, and I was just in full of emotion, and that's another thing that I had put in there as well. And so even though it's not perfect, I am really proud of that CD, the way God orchestra, just the way he connects everything together. So
That's excellent. That's excellent. And I think and I can attest. I can personally agree that when things flow organically, it's a much better result as opposed to you trying to force the outcome.
yeah.
It's a much better result, definitely. And when the CD was put out, what was the reception? Like what kinds of comments were you receiving from the project?
I know, and it's been out since 2017 or 18. And so I do have some comments on Bandcamp. Um, I mean, I do remember, because that was quite a while ago, so I had to think back. But I remember a guy friend of mine who was really close to me, and I gave him a hard copy CD. He told me he had to pull over because of the emotion that he was overcome with while listening to it. I remember that now. I had forgot about that. That was one of the very first um, feedback that I had. Um,
Wow.
Yes, I remember that.
Wow. That's awesome. Was has there been an instance, or let me say it like this, has there been at least one instance where you felt the Lord was leading you to write something specific for someone? And if so,
Mhm.
like what was that like for you?
Yeah, I'm not gonna say it's a loaded question, but it is more than one type of situation. First, the answer is yes.
Mhm.
And you're speaking of writing something, and so it's been more so in a prophetic way, in that like encouraging and speaking life into someone, just really, pouring that love through the pen, just, and believing in them, and just, speaking positivity and life into their future. So like in that way, that has happened in some of my relationships, that has happened on more than one occasion. And it's been very powerful. And that still does happen at times. The other way that it happens is on the platform that I host regularly, my bi-monthly series, The Peaceful Poetic Place. And oftentimes I will open up the night, or it will flow into it later. I just feel like led to like flow with the band, and just organically. So I guess, so one is written and one is spoken. Yeah.
Right,
So this,
right.
so this is the spoken soul flow right there in front of the audience with the band. And so I allow the pause or the time needed to get like, so as I'm getting the band ready, like I'm not, because it's not a show, it literally is for the people. And so I'm okay with taking the time till we get it right and then begin to flow. And so that took a while to get to that point, to be able to feel, you know, to be able to trust the Holy Spirit to work through me to say what needs to be said, and to be able to trust that I can think of the words, to think of words at the time. And I never know, but I just do it.
Right, right. And it just leaves you in awe sometimes at how God chooses to move through you and
Yes.
while you're being obedient to his leading and to see the end result of that, it's just an awesome
Yeah.
accomplishment to know what God is doing through you and in you.
Yes. And I have captured some of those in video form on my website, and even to go back, and it's like you can go back and listen to what you said, and you are like you're getting out something out of it later, because in the moment, you know what I mean? Like it's not the same as when you go back and listen to it in its totality.
Right, right. Definitely, definitely. Now let's talk about the Peaceful Poetic Place. What
Hmm.
was the inspiration behind beginning that?
Yeah, so that wasn't that wasn't my plan. That wasn't initially my idea. I was hosting and producing for other people who had, like, it was like a cafe, and they wanted poetry, and I was coming in hosting, but I was doing so much and giving so much to other people's visions.
Mhm.
And there was a big Christian comedian promoter who told me that I need to do my own thing. And I eventually, stepped out in fear, in faith, and began that journey, that direction. And I basically never stopped. I paused, but I've never stopped since.
Right. And how long has it been so far?
So I started in 2011.
Mhm.
I started spoken word in 2010, and I already started my series in 2011.
Mhm.
Um, And I think that's going back to your question about um connecting, the spiritual aspect and everything,
Right.
because I realized how serious it was. I also, on the spiritual side, believe that it was important to start my own, because, I was mostly in the secular world, and I also was raising a son in this. So I needed to create something that he could be able to be at also. Um but your question was how long? So I started in 2011. I took a year, a pause, because I had gotten hurt.
Mhm.
And then more recently, I took about a 3-year pause And so I've been back for almost 2 years now. In November, it'll be 2 years that I've been back.
Excellent, excellent. Now you've seen what your poetry, how your poetry has impacted others. How would you say your poetry has impacted you? Like, what has
Oh,
it done for you?
wow.
Has it like have you found your poetry to be a source of healing and inspiration for yourself?
Yes, absolutely. I've never been asked that question. But absolutely. Even again, going back to this saying that like I have to be really careful what I say. Initially, when I had that light bulb moment and I began to realize that there was a spirit, more a spiritual aspect to it than I thought I was just doing this for fun. Um, but my poetry and wanting to live up to what I was preaching, so to speak, helped me have more discipline in how I was living my life. That was one of the very first things that it did. But the other thing that it did very early on is allow me to be okay with me more fully. And what I mean is that I was looking at myself on paper. And so as I'm trying to live up to what I want other people to live up to, it was like, but you're not perfect and you have these flaws. And they're there for everybody to see. And so it helped me be okay with it to accept and love myself more fully, regardless of my flaws. Which also at this point has allowed me to again, as going back to the beginning of the whole interview, being uniquely me, it has allowed me to truly, truly get to the point where I can fully be uniquely me because I'm okay with whoever I am. Because not only am I walking in integrity, so I'm feeling integral about it, like I'm feeling confident about, yeah, this is who I am, but also that you can't tell me anything that I don't already know because I'm accepting the flaws and all. But there's a piece to that where we're looking at as aesthetics, the aesthetics of how I'm showing up,
Wow.
where um I'm able to be more creatively me
Mhm.
in expressing through my clothes, through my earrings and things like that. It actually, I feel like it transformed me into a butterfly, even in the colors that I wore, that I began to wear more vivid colors and things like that. And so it really was a caterpillar butterfly transformation.
Excellent, excellent. So you would say, would you agree that you found beauty in your transparency? Am I correct in saying that?
Oh my goodness, I love that.
Beauty in your
Yes.
transparency.
I am very transparent. And a lot of people write, but everybody's not transparent through their writing. And that is something that I really, especially through the spoken word, and especially even more in the moment in front of people, I'm very transparent because I am giving them me raw. Like this is what I'm going through. And I hope it helps you. So it definitely, and my spiritual journey, where when I talk about, speaking, in a way prophetically in the moment, being more attuned to the Holy Spirit through the live spoken soul, but that has then been applied to my life to be able to allow myself to be led in my life. If I can be led on a platform, why can't I be led in my decisions and how I'm walking out my life? And so that has actually helped me be more sensitive and more and try to be more in tune with how God wants to lead me in all aspects of my life.
Excellent, excellent. And let's talk about the importance of that. Like when and you're representing yourself in your totality by being transparent, by being honest, by being real. Um, why do you feel is important for you to be representing yourself in your totality, given all the things that make you who you are? Why is that important to you?
Because even when you go back to the word and you say your testimony, like your tests are your testimony. And I feel like the poetry is sharing my tests and turning them into testimonies. Some of it I'm going through at that time. A lot of it, well, not I'm not gonna say a lot of it, but some of it I've already been through, and these are the things that I have figured out. And there's lessons in being able to be authentic and transparent, um, because you connect with people on a deeper level when they know that you're being real, that you're being that you're not perfect, that they can see your flaws and all. And it's like, okay, well, um, it's it makes connections to other people's lives, and they can see you have gone through something and how you overcame. It's ministry. And even though it's ministry in a way where I'm not just talking about the word and say, do that, do that, do that. It's become a living word. Like, okay, this is what I was told, and this is what I did, and this is how it turned out. And I got through it because I was obedient. Um, and it wasn't easy. Like, people connect, I have, and that's more so what I've got. So a lot of feedback about is the live spoken soul. And people say, like, I went through this, or, like really connecting in real time at events with people that share their stories of how your story connected. And so, even just, storytellers, they're telling someone's story. And
Right.
I and I've learned over time is that my story really is in a way someone else's story. And if I don't tell it, then I really can't fully make a connection, um, and be an example for them of healing and overcoming.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that provides the perfect segue to our next segment of this episode, because now it's time, ladies and gentlemen, for Natasha to take the mic. Now, at this time, Natasha, you are free to share up to 5 poems of your choosing. You don't have to do five, but you are free to do five if you want to, to give our audience an idea of who you are as a poet and an author. So at this time, the floor is yours.
Okay. I love how you just passed the mic so fast. You know what? I'm gonna have to switch my device because it's not popping up. But that's all right. Okay. Oh, okay. This is called Surrender. I see. I see things that I have never seen before because I told God to lead. I told him, I trust you. Though I want to take the wheel, I am choosing to let go. Lord, guide me. Lead me even further beyond those still waters. I need peace to be you within me. I need you to guide me. So I put aside my cries and my whys and wondering questions I'll never have the answer to. I trust you. I need you. I breathe you. Lord, guide me. Guide me when I'm so clouded by all my problems and cares. I feel like I just don't care anymore. I need your Holy Spirit within me, Lord. I need you. I need so many things that I didn't even know I need. Lord, be everything that I need. Reveal to me. Show me the way. Help me to be still when it's time to stop the sway. Lord, take my hand and show me. Help me to be still when there's a stop sign at the end of the road. Take the wheel and drive me. Don't let my drive to be so perfect cloud my vision. Lord, I am perfectly imperfect. Because you are within me, I trust you. Lord, help us to trust you. When we don't even trust ourselves, help us not to trust ourselves. Help us to trust you. breathe life back into what was dead. He said all you needed was three, Trinity. Take that lady bleeding for what seemed like an eternity. She never gave up. Though where she was looking was not the substance of things hoped for, nor the evidence of things not seen. All you needed to do was believe. But your belief was lacking. It wasn't her hands or his garments. It was her faith that healed her. What else do you need to be free? He wants us to live free confidently of his direction and let him lead. So stop seeking answers in men and let his wisdom be what we seek instead. Extend our faith past books and experiences, only things we can see. See, God wants to know what we're made of, testing us at times till it becomes solid. Rock, I mean, so nothing will faze us, not tossed so easily when trials beset us. What are you still holding that he said, let go? We too have to say goodbye to former vices and beliefs that keep us from getting what we need, stuck in old mentalities. What curses have you declared to be true? Or what curses are you currently bringing on you? Press your way, regardless how heavy. Approach his throne boldly, because no closed mouths don't get fed, and an empty hand will allow you to grow. I'm sorry, Lord. Guide me so that what is left in me is love and faith and trust. Empty me, Lord, of me. And we'll be so careful to give you the glory, Lord. Bring your peace within to everywhere we go, and that'll be enough. So we thank you, and we let go and surrender. That's surrender. So I want to share a piece that I've never shared publicly. In February and March, I felt a strong tug and pull to go help the community from an area in Detroit that had been had a local tragedy, and they were flooded out of their homes. It was over 400 families. And at the end almost of this journey, I realized how similar we were in dealing with discrimination and racism because of our skin. So I won't tell you who these people are, but I think you'll figure it out along the way. This is the first for me, but for me, it's 40. It's the first day of April. You know that first poem you write, National Poetry Month. 40 days and 40 nights I have eaten and slept with the smell of beans and rice in the wind, not because that is the only thing Hispanics eat, but because some decided they would feed them stereotypical meals daily, at least until we complained. After all, that costs less, kind of like watermelon and chicken. I really like them both, but I don't eat them for every meal or even every day. It's not a win. Breaking wind, stomach in knots from anxiety and the food. In the wind is leftover burritos, stomach still growling because of the pain of not having fresh fruits and veggies. Because Hispanos are not just from Mexico. And just because they don't talk to you does not mean no hablo inglés. Maybe they just don't trust you, don't understand you. Though they know what you're saying, it still doesn't make sense. Behind your computers and phones as if you're working on their behalf, just busy work. Except you make them jump through hoops with many false promises, looking like spies and investigators from the city, serving service workers from the city, serving. And what's so hard about pulling out a translator? Technology is too advanced and fast for you to be that slow. No worries about HIPAA until it serves you and not them. Spanish is a culture, but I bet you didn't even know Spain is in Europe and Mexico is in North America. Latinos, just like we, are not monolithic. They eat more than beans and rice. Colombians live in America too, but they don't understand your paid translators. They don't speak that dialect of Espanol. Stuck on stupid because it doesn't make sense to provide services to a community but fail to learn anything about them. Someone to shout praises because of the horn that was tooted. It was their own. It was his own, the mayor. But some of us know the truth. Behind the seeds of lies planted, they don't take root, they fall on barren land. And I don't mean the one in Southwest Detroit full of mud and little green life now. Eventually, they'll come to light. But who am I but just some little volunteer? Seen from the eyes of pride and power and competition instead of collaboration and joining together. Who does she think she is? Surprised when I rise to stand shoulder to shoulder. And I don't mean with my own color or race as they call it. Catty, petty, trifling women tearing me down as if their eyes are darts. Who look just like me, but are nothing like me. I dodge really well. You know, sticks, they say they'll break your bones. But words sometimes hurt if you don't dodge well. I'm not made of Velcro. You can quit. The ones I aligned with, most have different undertones, but their skin also has some brown in color. We band together stronger than the enemy that devises to divide them and conquer. I stand in solidarity, stronger together. Those other few, outnumbered, not conquering their fears that exist, but they will be and were uncovered. We see you, Karen, too, with your high pitched, I met you 2 weeks ago. Then why are you just now calling? I've been making a difference. Are you scared of what's different? The inadequacy is deafening and loud all at the same time, because where they do that at? Overlooking needs just to posture. Needs exist beyond 40 days and April 3rd. You claim all that's needed is a form, but who will give them their mental health back and declining wellness? Who will reverse the PTSD and structural integrity of their home? Who will apologize for leaving them in hotels with no food, far from home? No one but God. This is the first time that I ever saw anything like this. To receive objection and resistance to care and love, how dare you? Try to deprive someone of things they need just so you can thrive, so your ego can thrive. It seems your lack of is bigger than theirs. Who hurt you? This a first. This is a first for me not to realize it was April Fool's Day because of all the mess I have been experiencing daily. The fools are all around me. God does not play about his own. 40 days and 40 nights, I have witnessed the devastation of loss and deprivation to a community that was already struggling. Maybe my hope was too much, giving them something to carry them through, reminding them God has not left you. Maybe the plan was not for them to get their needs met as much as possible, but God has a bigger plan. And it had nothing to do with the man. He wanted to be seen. He wanted people to feel his love through perseverance in providing the necessities and the little things. And they provided such little of things. But I am so humbled and honored that he chose me. He chose me. I will never be the same. I have been changed. April 1st is my day 40 of serving this community. Mucho amor por siempre para Southwest Detroit. Gracias a Dios. Thank you to God. Dios los bendiga a todas. I'll do one more piece. And I am glad to get that out. So I have come upon falling in love. So how could we go out without me doing a love poem if I'm a love poet? So let's bring it back to falling in love. And this piece actually is on my CD. And so you'll get a different version of it at this point. Falling in love is not something you take lightly. It's that midnight alarm that you fall asleep hearing and wake up missing, though you have it within you. It's a burning, consuming fire, that urgency in your bones and heart simultaneously. You don't just feel it, you live it openly. You don't discard it, fall out of it, or forget it. You suffer through it. True love. It will touch your life for eternity if it's unconditionally. Poems explain it. Music contains it, but words aren't enough if you've never known it. I had many loves that I thought were the gem from a rock, never realizing now if I had known what a diamond is, it couldn't even compare to it. I dare anyone to tell me the love that I've known now isn't true. And I'll tell you that's untrue. I decided to love from any place. My heart, from sorrow, my pain, grief, fears, incompleteness, because you complete me. Not a cliche, literally reality. I decided to not let go, not even of that little string when that's all I felt I had left, but I really wanted to jump to avoid the pinpricks, needles in my heart every time I felt rejected. God said love is never ending. Amazing grace. It saved a wretch like me, kept you from giving up on you and me. I learned to love me, and now I can love you. A brother, a stranger, an acquaintance, a friend. My sister, how many times have you thought love hurts when really it was a wolf in sheep's clothing, dressed like Cupid? Love is carrying, confiding, comforting, caring, cozy, calm, confirming that you are right where you need to be at that very moment, and in your future and in your present, all at once. I feel love like I've never known, and now God can only give it increase from here until we meet Him there. It's beautiful, glorious, overwhelming, exciting, intoxicating. Lord, your love is unbelievably satisfying. It fills the smallest crevices, possesses that fix to heal areas still needing to be filled and made whole. It's like a soul connecting to a soul, incomplete before they met. Yes, I feel love tonight. It makes you throw away old poems written by former lovers who are deceased. It'll make you stay single and abstinent with the hope of God's promises to delight and partake in his true love. It'll wrap virtual arms around you and never let go despite the temperature or weather surrounding you too. It'll make every critical word and negative affirmation told to you as a child disappear. Love will make a man believe he can fly with her at his side. Love will make a wayward child compliant and eager to please. Yes. It'll make a woman forgive every man who ever broke her heart or laid hands on her in the name of it. It will break soul ties in order to connect you to your God ordained mate. It will make you sit up straight every time you hear their name. Love will break chains and form bonds all in one breath. Love, when it's true, will have you nursing wounds like concussions without complaining and cooking food you know the other person can eat, but you can't. Love is all that God says it is. It is beautiful, natural, won't compete, satisfied and secure to be what it is. It can't be contained, barely explained. Have you rearranged your life to maintain? It causes a queen to recognize her place, and a man, it makes him her king. Through the love of God, we become royalty. My God, falling in love is not something you take lightly.
Wow, wow, wow. Outstanding poems, Natasha. Thank you so much for sharing those selections. That was excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now,
Thank you.
if
Share. Let me share.
awesome, awesome, definitely. If you could collaborate with any poet, living or deceased, who would it be and why?
Hmm. I guess I would have to go to my first thought, and that would be Maya Angelou. She
Yeah.
is someone that I do hold in esteem. I
Hmm.
don't copy her, but I have been, I'm not going to say compared, but I have, you know, some have given me reference to her, and she's the only one that I kind of have like that high esteem of just the boldness and her testimony and her overcoming. And it's not even so much about her style, it's just her strength and her presence and her realness and transparency. I would have to say Maya Angelou.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, she's definitely one of my inspirations, without a doubt. She's one of the reasons why I started writing poetry for myself. So she's definitely a contender, and I can see why. Excellent, excellent. Do you have any projects or events that you would like to share with our audience before we close out?
Okay, yes. Well, I have my series that I have mentioned, The Peaceful Poetic Place. It's bi-monthly, so September, November is our next upcoming dates. But I'm working on doing I'm trying to get it more being able to be seen outside of the venue, with streaming. So I'm working on that. And even if I can't stream it, even just getting video out there so that people can see who haven't been able to come. And so there's clips from over the years on my YouTube page. And then I also have a second CD project that I'm starting to put the skeleton together for. And matter of fact, my son moved out and I am taking over his room and I have the studio equipment in there as we speak. I just
Excellent.
got to figure out how to put it together. So I'm working on my CD project really soon. So I hope to be done this year with that.
Wow,
My
that's
second
excellent.
CD.
Wow, wow. Congratulations on all of those projects. And now, for those that are not already familiar with you or following you, can you share where you can be found on social media or if you have a website?
Yes, on my website. So again, I'm Natasha Beautiful Thought, or affectionately Miss Beautiful Thought, but my website is My Beautiful Thoughts with an S at the end, mybeautifulthoughts.net. And so I have, links to my social media there. And that's the best way to connect with me. And you can get to my YouTube page, which also has a connection to my blog as well. But my website is the best way. And yeah, you'll find me. And you could search Natasha Beautiful Thought. But my website is the best way, mybeautifulthoughts.net or .com. It'll get you there either way.
Right, right. Excellent, excellent. So before we close out this episode, there's one more thing that I would like to do, and that is to first and foremost say thank you. Natasha, thank you so much for your time this evening. I enjoyed our conversation, and I definitely enjoyed your poetry. Very powerful, very on point. I wish you all the best with your upcoming projects and future projects, and may God continue to bless and guide you as you share your gifts and talents for His glory.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Um, Coming up next, I'm excited about episode number 12. Next episode will feature two rappers who happen to two rappers, Angenique and Focus, coming up this Friday, July 18th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For more information about Poets with Purpose and the P.W.P Sessions podcast, you can reach out to me at 646-372-6230 or email me at poetswithpurpose@gmail.com. Poets with Purpose is now online with our own website. You can go to poetswithpurpose.wordpress.com and subscribe to keep up with the latest happenings and event announcements and everything poetry related. All of the logos and flyers designed for Poets with Purpose and the P.W.P Sessions podcast were designed by the awesome team at Eclipse Graphics. You can find them on Instagram at @Eclipse Graphics NY, or you can go to their website, eclipsegraphicsny.com, to see samples of their work and to reach out to them for yourself for any projects that you may have. Lastly, for those of you that would like to make a donation, you can do so through PayPal, Tap Media Man, Cash App, $Anointed Pen, or through Zelly utilizing my phone number. And that concludes season 4, episode number 11. This episode will be uploaded to the Poets with Purpose YouTube channel within the next hour or so. So be on the lookout for that. So you can feel free to share with your social media contacts. Natasha, thank you again for your time and talents. May God bless you. Many thanks to my audience. Many thanks to all of my supporters. Now entering our 7th year. Well, actually, this is the 4th year, celebrating 4 years of Poets with Purpose. It's 4 years of the P.W.P Sessions podcast and the 7th year for Poets with Purpose. So I'm excited at what God is doing with my creativity and my platforms. And I just pray His continued blessings as I continue to grow a community for poets and poetry lovers alike. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Natasha. You all have a good evening and God bless. Thank you.